I'm a student athlete here at the University of Lethbridge, and my major is neuroscience. I'm super passionate about both athletics and academics. I kind of treat them both as their own separate things throughout the semester. I'd say I'm a pretty outgoing person in both what I do and my relationships with other people. And I like to make sure everyone around me is always having fun and feeling like they're reaching their fullest potential. So I stayed in my hometown for university and started competitively swimming with the club when I was 8. My brother did it as well. He did not stick around with it. It was not his thing. He didn't like staring at the line on the bottom of the pool, but kind of right away was my thing for sure. I get super relaxed when I swim and can just get into it and get into the zone, that like flow state that people talk about with sport. I've always felt that with swimming. When I first swim meet, all I can remember, I think I got disqualified in every single event, even freestyle, which is not supposed to be very easy to do, because I think the only two things you can do is touch the bottom of the pool or reach up onto the top of the bulkhead at the end of the race, which is what I did. So I got disqualified in everything, and I didn't know that you could like take your cap and goggles off after your races, so I wore them all day, and my head hurt so bad. I was crying to my mom at the end of the day, like, why does my head hurt? I don't like this sport. Like, it's just giving me a headache. But we figured that out. That was the only learning curve I encountered initially. And then, after that, I loved it. I love competing and kind of seeing all the work that you put in over weeks and weeks kind of come to a point at a competition is super cool and one of my favorite parts about swimming. It's a lot of repetition and really keeping yourself accountable. You kind of always have to be thinking about what you're doing and just being very purposeful with it. And I'm sure that's a commonality across lots of sports, but swimming is you have to be a specific kind of person to want to think about one thing for that long. So our practice is usually about 90 minutes. It's lots of meters. You swim way more meters in practice than you ever would at a competition, because your competition, you're just racing super short distances. You'll add a little bit more in your warm-up and your cool-down, but maybe not even half of a practice in one day at a swim meet. So it's a lot of work putting in those meters, but if you find that that's something you enjoy and you enjoy putting lots of time in to get a very specific result, then swimming's definitely something you would enjoy. I'm studying neuroscience here at the university. I've always kind of been really specific about my schooling, and I've always been super particular about my grades and everything, which is a good thing, a bad thing, blessing and a curse in some ways. But I kind of had that work ethic going into university already. I probably didn't need to in high school as much as I did, but I found that really helped me with the transition. And in some ways, university has been less stressful for me than it was in high school, because I really enjoy what I'm studying, and I find that makes all the difference in what you're doing, because even if you do have a super heavy workload and stressful part of the semester, it makes all the difference when you enjoy what you're doing and you're excited about what you're learning. Initially, I think I found the brain pretty interesting when we did a unit on it in biology in high school. I didn't really picture myself going into it as a complete degree, but I thought it was fascinating. I think when I first applied to university, I applied into biochemistry because I enjoyed both of those subjects in high school and I was good at them, so I figured that would be a good way to go. But then I started doing program planning, and I thought, maybe this might be too much for me to do with swimming. There was a lot of lab work, which is tough with swimming and our practice schedule. So I started looking into other programs, and the university has a really, really excellent neuroscience department across the board. We have some of the leading professors and researchers and doctorates in Canada here that work at the University of Lethbridge, which is super cool. Lots of the textbooks in my classes are written by the same professors teaching the classes. And so when I figured that out, I figured it might as well be worth a shot. I'm interested in it already, and if it's a super great department, I thought I might as well give it a try. And I switched into neuroscience before my first year had even started, and I haven't looked back. I've loved every second of this program. It's been really amazing. I've gotten a few opportunities to do some research here at the university. In my time, I've had a couple opportunities to do some independent studies, and I've really loved research. I've also always had a passion and the goal to go into medicine, and I think that is still a route that I'd love to pursue. So right now, the goal is to pursue med school after my undergraduate, but I'm hoping in the long term that I can incorporate some research into my work as well. This year, I piloted a girls and women's mentorship program between the same club that I grew up swimming with and our university program. There was kind of a new thing this year that the club introduced with the university team called the Pronghorns Academy. So there's been a couple of the high school swimmers that have been able to come up and train with us, which has been super cool. It's definitely a really interesting and motivating dynamic to have around. And I just figured with that close relationship that we're going to be having with them, we might as well have a program in place to kind of help them through their struggles that we've kind of already been through and are on the other side of. In some ways, yes, and in some ways differently because we're in university now. But we include them in the high school academy group, and then high school swimmers from the club as well. We're invited to participate, and so everybody's kind of matched up in a buddy system, and it's just all about creating a safe space for them to ask questions or get advice on anything from time management, because we need lots of that as student athletes, help with school, help with training. If training is maybe a little bit down or demotivating at the time, they can come to us and ask about how maybe we got through a time like that. A lot of us, once we get to university swimming, it's a long haul to get to university swimming. You start usually pretty young, and so if you make it all the way to university swimming and it's still something you're wanting to do, you've usually been through a lot by that point, but you've also probably had a lot of opportunities and a lot of people to help you along the way. And so I feel like the mentorship program is kind of my way of being that person for somebody else who wants to be in my shoes one day, which is pretty cool to me. One of the things I think that was really a big thing in my winning the Community Service Award was my work with Building Brains Together, which is a nonprofit here in Lethbridge. And I just love advertising for them all the time because I think they're such a great organization. I'm doing an independent study with them this semester as well, and so I love being involved with them. But they work lots to promote education and research about executive function in the community, which is really an important thing in this day and age with technology and everything. It's so easy to kind of be disconnected from learning and everything like that with social media. And so, yeah, the work they do is super important to promote healthy brain development, not only for kids, but kind of throughout the adult lifespan. That's kind of a neat little connection in my passion for school and my passion for community service. As a student athlete, so much of your identity revolves around that. And so I am a little bit scared for the identity crisis that I know is coming in 2 more years when I graduate. But I think success for me ultimately is just that feeling that you have of fulfillment and not being scared to chase it down if it doesn't feel like you're headed that way. I do definitely want to pursue med school, like I mentioned, and I have all of these big plans in front of me, but I hope that I won't be scared to change those plans or move in a different direction if it's not something that feels right deep down. I really love being a Canadian athlete because I think it's such a cool community to be a part of, and so many young Canadians look up to Canadian athletes in general. And so to be able to say that I'm a university Canadian athlete is something that I never thought I would say when I was younger. Try everything and anything that interests you because something's going to stick. And even just with volunteerism, I've gone through so many different things, and I'll volunteer for one place, and it's okay to go volunteer somewhere and not like it just because you're a volunteer and you're supposed to be like giving back to your community. It doesn't mean it's like a bad thing for you to step away from something you don't enjoy. Just keep looking because you will find something that you enjoy. And sometimes it's a little bit of a matter of faking it till you make it. And I still feel like I'm doing that every day. Even just being on this interview doesn't feel like I should be here and people should be asking me questions because I don't necessarily feel qualified. But no, yeah, you just kind of have to keep going and believe in yourself truly is the number one thing.